Hi, it's Bumble. Welcome back to my channel. So, before I start talking about Disney's Descendants, I want to say I saw that I got a lot of views. Well, there's only one video for it now, but the Luigi's Mansion 2 video, or at least the first one, I saw that I was already getting a lot of views. So I wanted to say I recorded my Luigi's Mansion 2 playthrough, oh gosh, like months ago. Might have even been last year. It's been a while. I did not finish it. I got to a like really gimmicky boss and I could not win, and it was to the point where I was just kind of forcing myself, and I was like, okay, if I'm not having fun with this anymore, maybe I shouldn't play. And I think I talk about that in that video, and now I'm just like, now that the playthrough's finally like made available, now I'm trying to decide, like, damn, should I go back and give it a try? Because like sometimes it does happen, like I'll get stuck on a boss or like a hard part of a game and I'll like take a pause for a while. I usually don't quit, but then sometimes I come back and then I'm able to do it. So it might just be one of those things, because it was like a fun game, and I've never actually finished Luigi's Mansion 2. I've tried several times, and in the Switch playthrough you're going to be like watching and stuff, that's the farthest I've ever gone, because I used to play Dark Moon. Oh yeah, it's called Dark Moon, I forgot. I used to play Dark Moon on my 3DS. That was my first Luigi's. Was that my first Luigi's Mansion game? It might have been. Anyway, but yeah, I'm just letting you know at the moment, it stops after a certain point, but I might go back and try to finish it. If I can't get through that boss, then I don't. So I don't know. I'm just giving you that heads up just in case it like stops at some point. Hold on, I'm gonna turn on the fan in here. It's funny, it's like 8 p.m. but it's still really hot in here. Okay. Alright, so this movie I've actually been avoiding this, to be honest with you. So when I was in, I don't remember what grade. I might have been like high school or something. I think this movie had like been out for a while though. I was at a sleepover with two of my friends at like one of their houses, and they decided to put this movie on. I actually don't remember if we got through the whole thing. I at least remember seeing like the very beginning and like the first song and stuff. I think we either probably only had it on for like the first like 15 minutes, or we might have just watched the whole thing and I blocked it out. But I have a feeling it was only the beginning of the movie, because I couldn't remember like anything else. So like I've technically seen like a little bit. I do think the concept of these movies are cool. I don't actually know how many there are, because I'm watching these in Hulu right now, because I am saying I'm gonna continue with these. I know the first 3 are on there. I haven't checked to see if there's other ones. I know there's like an Alice in Wonderland themed like spin-off that has to do with time travel. I'm assuming that's like the newest movie, because literally when I went to go and look for this picture for like the thumbnail, it was like mostly that movie. I think it's called Rise of Red that was popping up. So I guess that I'm assuming that means that's either the newest movie or that's like the most popular, which sounds kind of interesting. I remember once I saw someone made like a tier list of all of these movies. I don't remember what the top one was, but now I'm kind of curious. I'm curious if these are gonna get like progressively better or they're gonna get worse. Like I always kind of assume with like the first of a movie in a like an ongoing series that it's sometimes those are like the weakest ones. This one, it's funny. The director for this movie, I think his name's Kenny Ortega. I had to look that up while I was watching, because I thought some of these songs kind of reminded me of like High School Musical a bit, but like not as good as High School Musical. And then I realized, oh, it's the same director. It was kind of funny. I was looking on his Letterboxd page, and he has been the director for like a ton of like Disney Channel original movies. And then one of the other things I saw there was Rocky Horror 2016. I'm like, oh, okay, that kind somehow that seems about right. Which I actually did just rewatch that movie like a couple days ago. I think I liked it better on rewatch. It's it's like not as good to me as like the original Rocky Horror movie from the 70s, but I think it's still a fun time, honestly. Anyway, yeah. So I'm glad that I actually decided to watch like this full movie and everything, because like I was watching the beginning and I got to the first song and I was like, oh, I don't, this song feels kind of just cringe to me. It's called Rotten to the Core, but then like every other song was at least like somewhat decent, and some of them I actually kind of liked. I don't really know the names of any of the other songs, so I guess I'll just kind of describe what's happening with them, and that kind of clues you in enough. I mean, at least like some of the characters can sing, so that's good. I mean, they have like, what's her name, Dove Cameron, I think, as the main character, and I know for sure she can sing. I watched her in what is it, Schmigadoon. So at least know for her. I don't know for any of the other characters or the other actors and well, at least the ones that play the kids. I need to clarify that. I know for the adults they definitely got people that can sing. It's like I recognize the actors for Maleficent. You're gonna hear me talk about her. And the actor for Carlos, because I used to watch him on Jessie, and I know about Dove Cameron, but that's kind of about it. I don't think I recognized anyone else, but that was okay. I do think the concept of these is interesting, where it's not just like the villains, because it's all about like the kids of Disney villains and heroes, which is kind of funny to me because I'm aware there's a series called Ever After High, where it's the exact same concept for like fairy tale characters and stuff, and I don't know if these two series came out around like the same time, but with this one where it's like all of the villains and their kids have to go and live on this island, I thought it was funny, the clarification. I get that the island, you know, they can't have magic and stuff. It's basically, their island's basically like prison, not like literally prison, but you know, but the fact that they don't have Wi-Fi, which I mean, yeah, that actually also makes sense, but it was just kind of funny to me because the whole story is like narrated by the main character, Mal. I do find it interesting with the four kids. I do think they did choose some like iconic villains to like be their parents and stuff, because you know, it's like the kids of like Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, Jafar, and the Evil Queen. They're all like pretty iconic, and I like that they're from like different eras of Disney too. I think that's pretty cool, honestly. I do find it funny, out of all the kids, like Mal's the only one that like actually like wants to try to be evil, and the others, even from the beginning, just kind of don't really feel like it. But that's like supposed to be Mal's whole like character arc and stuff, of realizing, oh wait, I actually want to be good. But the evil thing for her isn't even like, oh, I like really want to be evil. It's, she just wants to like prove herself to her mom. But I do like that the kids, and you see it with the other kids in the, once they go to the like good guy school, I don't remember what it's called, they all have sort of, they kind of have like traits from their parents. It's kind of interesting. I wish that was shown like a little bit more with their appearances and stuff, because I feel like with some of them, with the way they're like dressed or whatever, especially with like a lot of the good guy kid characters, they like, you could show me a picture of a lot of them and I wouldn't be able to guess, oh, that's the kid of so and so. I would just think they're from like a generic high school movie. It's kind of funny. Like, not every character's like that, at least for some of them. Like the color schemes, like one of the main characters, his name is Ben, and he's the son of Belle and the Beast, and he wears a lot of like blue and gold, so like for that as an example, I could kind of see it. But it is kind of a downer because like the villain kids all have outfits, because they like change outfits throughout the movie, but at least like their color schemes and some of their outfits, you know, you can obviously tell like who their parents are. Like I thought with Evie's outfits, it was kind of cool. Don't just reference like her mother, they kind of reference Snow White a bit. Like I remember there's a part where she's wearing this like really cute t-shirt that just has like the word Fairest on it, and like little things like that. And then you get to see the good guy school, and it's like no one has as cool, like I know they're the main characters, so they have to have the drip, but like even the good guy kids, their outfits just feel kind of, a lot of them really generic and kind of boring, where you wouldn't be able to guess their parents. So I feel like, I mean, I haven't watched any of the future movies yet, so there's some things I'm probably gonna like complain about that possibly get addressed or fixed or added or whatever in the sequels. But yeah, I hope that's a thing that gets improved with the sequels. Okay, let me kind of go into my notes. I kind of took a lot, but I'm just gonna kind of skip through them and stuff. I do think it's kind of interesting that out of like all of the Disney princesses and stuff, that the two people that are like the leaders of the good guy kingdom, which I think was literally called like the United States of whatever the name it was, which is just kind of a funny name to me for a kingdom, that their king and their like main king and queen, because there's like multiple kings and queens, but like the main ones were Belle and the Beast specifically. Like they are iconic, but I would have guessed it would have been, I don't know, maybe like one of the older princesses or something. Like it would have been cool if it was like, you know, with Snow White being the first Disney princess, of her being like the leader or something. I think you do get to see her, but she's like a reporter, which was kind of just funny to me. But I think in terms of what the story is going for, I can see why it's specifically Belle and the Beast. Oh yeah, they don't, oh wait, actually I don't remember if he like officially has a name. I know a lot of people refer to him as Adam, but I don't remember if that's like actually his canon name or just like what fans call him, because they only, even in this, they only refer to him as the Beast. But I could see how it works, because like this whole, you know, Belle and the Beast's whole story was like about looking past appearances and stuff. And that's kind of what their son does, where he's like, hey, I'm gonna be king, let's have some of the villains' kids come to our school and stuff, and see if we can do, you know, get them to be good. Or not really to get them to be good, it's more of like, hey, we need to give them a second chance, because they're not who their parents are. That's like the whole thing with the story. So I can understand like why it's Belle and the Beast as the leaders, because you know, it's kind of like matching stories. But at the same time, I do find it funny, because whenever their son Ben brings it up of like, yeah, let's be like inclusive with the villain kids and stuff, it's like Belle especially just seems really like I don't know on that stuff. And you think because it's Belle of all people, she'd be like super willing to give people a second chance. I mean, that is kind of what helps convince the Beast like to allow it in the first place, because Belle's like, hey, I gave you a second chance. But the fact that it's Belle of all people that's kind of like turning up her nose at, you know, giving the villains and the villain kids a chance is like super funny to me, but also like a little sad too. I think something that does kind of throw me off with this is like the villain characters, you know, like Maleficent, the evil queen and stuff. I mean, they're not identical to like their counterparts, animated counterparts, in terms of their personalities and actions, but like I feel like they're like pretty close, and especially their costumes too. Their costumes are really cool. I love the costume for like Maleficent, for example. But then getting to see the parents of the like the princesses and princes and stuff, of those like classic characters, like their outfits sort of match and stuff, but I feel like their personalities just feel really off to me, and I didn't like that. It was kind of weird. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Kristen Chenoweth. I feel like hers Maleficent is like the highlight of the movie to me. where she is out of the villain characters, because it's only the parents of these like main character kids you get introduced to. You don't get to see other villains. Maleficent is the only one that like really is like hell-bent on like, okay, we need to get the fairy godmother's wand. That's like the thing with the plot of the movie, and be able to, you know, get revenge and take over the world or whatever. And the others kind of just don't really care as much. But yeah, she's the one, you know, because she's the mom of the main character, that gets like the most attention of the villains. She gets like an entire song too, which was really fun. It's at this, and the timing of it was funny because it's at a point where like Mal is looking at a statue of her mom towards the beginning of the movie, or not a statue, but it's like a sculpture in a museum, and she's like, "Mom, I don't know what to do," and starts singing a song about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a song about like trying to ask her advice and struggling and not knowing what to do. And then the sculpture comes to life and starts singing, and the song is kind of interesting where it's like kind of like show tune sounding, but the chords are like, there's like a lot of minor chords, and it sounds kind of evil instrumental wise a little bit, so it's like a really weird combo, but it fits, and it's just kind of super goofy, and I loved it. That was like one of my favorite parts of the movie. But at the same time, the fact that the song's originally set up as like Mal singing about, you know, being in despair and confused, and then it turns into a Maleficent song that sounds like that, is just so funny to me. But yeah, Maleficent in this is played as like, you know, she wants to take over the world and whatever, but it's like she's played in a very like hammy kind of way, kind of goofy, that's just really fun, honestly. You know, something I was kind of wondering, again, it's probably something that gets like addressed in the sequels or whatever, is in this one they never mention about the spouses of the villains. Like the kids never talk about their other parent and stuff. Actually, even for some of the like the good guy kids too, not for all of them, but for some of them, it's like you don't hear who their other parents are. And it made me wonder, is like, are they just like regular people, or are they also famous villains, princesses, whatever? I was especially wondering that for like Maleficent, because she literally has a whole conversation with Mal at the end about like, you know, love is weak and useless and whatever, and it's like, dude, you had a kid, you had to have ended up with someone whether you loved them or not, you know. Maybe that's something we learn about later. Or like how the kids end up getting magic powers. Well, it's only really Mal, actually. I was thinking about that. I'm like, why don't the others have powers? But but again, I guess it doesn't make sense, because like, I mean, Jafar has like his staff thing or whatever, but he himself doesn't seem to have like powers. Cruella de Vil is just like this lady that skins puppies. Like, she's evil, but she doesn't have magic. And then with the evil queen, I don't know. I mean, Evie, her daughter, does end up getting magic, but it's like through an item. It's like a little mini magic mirror she carries. She herself doesn't have like powers. It's only Mal that does, because, you know, Maleficent's like an evil fairy. So I hope that's something else that we get to I mean, it did kind of feel like another thing of like, you know, Mal's the main character, and, you know, you got to make her special and whatever. But yeah, I'm like hyped to see what more characters we get for like the sequels, because I think the second one is like, I'm assuming like one of the characters looks like a pirate, so I'm assuming it's like the daughter of Ursula or something, I'm guessing. Oh yeah, something with the second movie real quick, because I haven't watched it yet. I was looking at the run times for the first 3 movies on Hulu. The first movie and the third movie are 2 hours, but the second movie is like 2.5 hours, which feels weird, because I feel like a lot of kids movies are usually like barely 2 hours or so. Not all of them, obviously, but I was thinking like, what the hell happens in the second movie that warrants it being like 2.5 hours. I think it was like 2 hours 32 minutes or something. I'm hoping that means that one's supposed to be really good. And the funny thing is, I was actually planning on watching that next, and I was like, okay, I have like an hour and a half or so. I'm gonna watch a Scooby-Doo movie with my friends later at like 9:30. And then I saw the runtime for Descendants 2, and I'm like, damn it, I'm not gonna have enough time. I'm gonna have to like literally set aside a day or watch it like, yeah, it would have to be like early tomorrow or something. Okay, let me see what else. There's a character. Let me talk about some of the other kid characters. There's a character named I think it was either Audrey or Aubrey, and she's Sleeping Beauty's daughter. They never refer to Sleeping Beauty, like her name is Aurora. They never refer to her as Aurora. They only refer to her as Sleeping Beauty, and that kind of bothered me. But her daughter, Audrey or Aubrey or whatever, she's kind of mean. Like, there's a lot of, it's mostly daughters that you meet in terms of like the good guy kids and stuff, but a lot of them end up being like really mean to the villain kids, and they never end up like apologizing it. It's even after when Mal, there's like a whole bit in the movie where Mal has to change their hairstyles because the good guy kids or specifically the daughters are like, oh, you know, they start like ripping their clothes and whatever, and they want to be like cool like Mal or something, but they don't know how, which I thought was kind of interesting because, you know, everyone on like the good guy at school is like really like preppy in terms of like their dress and stuff, and then with the villain kids, you know, they have to be like the edgy teens or whatever. So Mal's got like the ripped jeans and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of interesting where some of the good daughters are like, oh, I want to try to dress differently. I mean, there's a whole character for that. Like the fairy godmother, she has a daughter. Her name's Jane. She ends up being the one that ends up actually trying to steal like the fairy godmother's wand at the end, which I thought was kind of cool. Like the movie makes it seem like it's going to be Mal because it's set up that way the whole movie, and then it's the daughter where she's like, you know, I want to look pretty because she looks very like plain, and I wonder if that's why her name's Jane, like plain Jane. But yeah, because the fairy godmother has this whole thing of like true beauty's on the inside and stuff, but her daughter's like, wait, I don't want this boring hairstyle. To be fair, because she goes back to her regular hairstyle at the end, Jane. To be fair about her hair, I feel like her short haircut just does not flatter her. I feel like she honestly looked better with a style more like Mal's that she had for like 15 minutes in the movie. That's the other thing. I mean, I get it's like a Disney movie and stuff, but like the wigs in this movie are so funny to me, where even for the characters that don't have the like fantasy colored hair and stuff, the wigs just look kind of weird to me. And I've heard that the wigs get like worse for some of the movies. So yeah. Okay, let me see what else. You know, someone I did actually like, Dopey has a son. His name's Doug, and he's set up to be like a little bit forgetful as like a trait to share with his dad, but then that ends up going away after a while. But he's like this kind of nerdy character that ends up becoming friends with Evie. Actually, I did really like Evie's storyline, where her whole goal is like she wants to date a prince and stuff. She's like a romantic, and then she tries, she's actually really smart like academically, but she tries to like it's one of those things of like trying to play dumb to like get a boy's attention, and then learns at the end like, oh, I don't have to do that. But yeah, she ends up becoming friends with Doug, and I thought that was pretty neat. But I think Evie was probably my favorite out of the main characters. I liked her friendship with Mal. Out of the four, Carlos and Jay, they don't. That's the other reason I was watching this, and I thought, okay, this has to be kind of more directed at like a female audience, probably, because like a lot of the male characters don't really get, except for Ben. and I guess a little bit with Doug, uh, don't really get much like screen time or anything. Like Carlos and Jay have like their own things going on, where Jay has to like kind of channel his energy into like being on a sports team but also stop being a kleptomaniac. And then Carlos's thing is just he's afraid of dogs because of his mom. He also seems to be like really afraid of his mom too. I felt bad for him, but then he ends up gaining a dog and he learns to like dogs, but like then that's it. That's like the only thing he gets, and I'm like, oh, that seems like kind of lame compared to the others. But yeah, the two boys don't really get much. I mean, they're kind of played as like the kind of more comedic anyway, but I kind of wish you'd get to see the main four characters together a little bit more, because like they start off as like this group of like supposedly close friends. I mean, I get that they all are kind of growing in their own ways separately. They got like their own different like story arcs and stuff, and Mal's is, you know, dating Ben, but you don't really get to see them together that much throughout the movie. It's only at times where they're like, okay, we got to have like a group meeting and figure out how we're going to steal the magic wand and whatever, and that's kind of about it. Like you get to see Jay and Carlos. I don't know why I keep forgetting his name's Carlos. You get to see those two together at least a little bit. It's kind of more towards the beginning, or when the group is hanging out as a group, and you definitely get to see like Mal and Evie together, but not really the four main characters, so that was a bummer. I thought they worked as like a friend group. What else? I thought the part when they go to the museum is pretty cool. You don't really get to see much of it, but it has like all of the fairy tale magic items, like the enchanted rose or the genie's lamp from Aladdin and stuff. I kind of wish we got to see a little bit more of that. Let me see what else. I'm still kind of like skipping stuff. I feel like, I mean, I know it's supposed to be a story of like these kids that are raised in this like evil island, and they go to the good guy school and they're taught to be good. They have all these school lessons about being taught to be good, but then the thing that actually gets them to be good is realizing, wait, getting to go to school and getting to do like normal kid stuff is actually really fun. I'm surprised part of that wasn't, I mean, they do have the lesson of like, we don't have to be like our parents, but their parents just like emotionally don't really seem to care about them much or anything. And I'm surprised that wasn't one of the revelations they have at the end. I guess maybe because they all have like complicated relationships with their parents and stuff. Wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot my point. Oh wait, yeah. So like a lot of the movie is them just getting to do school things and learning about the good guy island, which is fine, but it also just kind of feels a little bit boring. I've heard that the sequels get like a bit more actiony, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. I mean, I'm assuming they'd have to, because it's like we haven't met any of the other villain kids yet in this movie, and at the end of this movie the four main characters decide they're going to be good, so I'm assuming they're going to go like, I don't know, get into fights or whatever. How else? I thought the date scene between Mal and Ben, I actually did kind of like the romance. It's a bit like, you know, it's like a little bit stereotypical of like, you know, Mal, she puts this love spell on Ben as part of the plot to steal the magic wand or whatever. And then later on you find out that the love spell actually wore off. It got like washed off during their first date, and he hasn't been under the effects of it at all, and that he's like actually loved her the whole time, which I feel like was like pretty predictable, but was kind of sweet. But I do like that even towards the beginning of the movie, he already kind of seemed interested in Mal anyway, so I feel like he probably liked her the whole time. The only thing that's kind of weird, though, is, like, he gets put into the effects of a love spell, so he ends up kind of just ditching his girlfriend. Like, he's already in a relationship. To be fair, she notices that he's, like, interested in Mal out of nowhere, and then is, like, trying to make him jealous by, like, going with another guy. But you never get a scene of... because eventually Ben, like, does stop being under the effects of the love spell, and he, like, falls in love with Mal, and it's like... okay, him and his, like, previous girlfriend are broken up. But I feel like that makes it kind of morally, like, weird. Where it's like, even if he didn't have the love spell, he would have, like, fallen in love with Mal anyway. So it is kind of cheating. I mean, the movie points it out, like, a little bit. It calls him out on it a little bit, but it kind of would have been cool if we got a scene of him at least, because, like, no one ever really seems to, like, apologize at the end of this movie, which is just weird to me. Like, you don't get Ben apologizing to his girlfriend of, like, hey, I fell in love with another person, but we were still dating and, like, cheated on you, or, like, the like, good guy kids, the girls, they don't ever apologize to Mal, especially to Mal, but even to, like, the other, her, like, friends and stuff of, like, hey, we were, like, being pretty mean to you, you know, because we assumed you were evil. We're sorry about that. Like no one ever really, like, makes up at the end, and I was kind of surprised by that, because I feel like that's usually how these movies go. There's, like, a remix of Be Your Guest at one point. That was actually kind of cool. I thought it was going to be bad. Ben ends up, oh yeah, that's the point when I was starting to Google stuff. Ben has a song he ends up singing to Mal, and I was like, this feels like something out of High School Musical, and that's when I learned it's the same director. I mean, I doubt he's, like, writing the songs and stuff, but that whole scene had the vibe of, like, this would totally be something that would be in High School Musical. I've honestly got to watch those again. I really should have, because, like, I binged a bunch of Disney movies a while ago, like a month ago, when I got to use my brother's Disney Plus account, but I should have just binged High School. I was watching so many Disney Channel original movies anyway, but it didn't click to me of, like, oh yeah, I can watch the ones that, like, I actually grew up with too. I kept watching a bunch of ones from, like, 2000 to 2004 and even some 90s ones that, like, I'd never seen in my life. Okay, let me see what else. The CGI in this is, like, kind of bad, which was funny to me. Like I get that if this was, like, an early 2000s Disney movie, but this is, I haven't googled it. I thought this was from, like, 2015, 2016. It does kind of feel that way, has that vibe. But the CGI in this is, like, really bad. I don't know if it's because it's a Disney Channel original movie. Like, there's this one, like, anytime there's, like, a magic thing that happens, or even, like, Mal and Maleficent, which that's also funny to me of, like, you know, Maleficent names her daughter Mal, and Mal isn't even short for anything. It's just Mal. I mean, she has a normal middle name. I think it's, like, Bertha or something. But no, her first name it's just Mal. But they both have this thing where their eyes will turn green, which at first I thought that was supposed to be, like, some kind of hypnosis or whatever, but it just ends up with the two of them kind of, like, staring at each other sometime, and I don't know if it's, like, a battle between wills or whatever. And you don't see Mal, like, do that much, but, like, on Maleficent, the green on her eyes, it's not, like, I don't think it was, like, contacts for either of them. The green eye effect on, like, Maleficent looks fine, but then on Mal, it's like neon green, and it looks really bad. But I think the effect that looks the worst is Maleficent. She ends up showing up at the end in the form of this, like, green cloud. I think that happened in Sleeping Beauty too. It's been a while since I've watched it, but the effect of the green cloud looked so freaking bad. And then the funny thing is, she does end up getting to turn into a dragon at the end, which was pretty cool, honestly. And the dragon actually looked fine, so that was funny to me, of all things, that, like, you'd expect that maybe they'd mess up the dragon or whatever, but no, it's the green cloud effects that kind of looked like shit. But yeah, the dragon form looked cool. It looked like an actual dragon. And I did think it was kind of funny that Maleficent, she ends up turning into this really tiny lizard at the end. And it's explained kind of similar to like the Grinch. I guess it's the opposite of the Grinch, I don't know. Where the amount of love that Maleficent had was so small that's why she turned into a tiny lizard. Because the size reflects like, you know, how much love she has. And they end up putting her in a jar. I think it's like a container, kind of like the one for the Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Rose. So I hope that means she eventually gets to come back, because she was easily my favorite part of the movie. I mean, I'm pretty much happy with like almost any like Kristen Chenoweth role anyway. She's always a delight to watch, and I love that no matter what, whether it's a movie or a show or how major her role is, in like everything I've gotten to see her in, she always gets the chance to sing, and it's always great. Even in like I watched Rio 2 where she plays, I think it's like a poisonous frog or poisonous lizard or something, and I don't remember Rio 2. Like I remember sometimes in the Rio movies the characters sing. I don't think it was like a full-on musical, maybe, but she gets a song in that, and it's a really good song actually. And it's cool she gets to sing in this too. But yeah, she was my favorite part of this. Oh yeah, and then another thing I was surprised the movie didn't touch on is like when the fairy godmother's wand finally does get used, it accidentally causes the barrier on the villain island, because there's like a magic barrier, to disappear, and like that's how Maleficent gets to the good guy kingdom or whatever. And the thing is, like, at that point, they would all realize, like, oh shit, Maleficent's here, that means the barrier's down. But none of the characters fix it or put the barrier back up. I'd understand if there was, like, some kind of speech of, like, hey, you know, the villain kids are good now. Maybe we should just lift the barrier down completely or a little bit, or allow more kids to come here or whatever. There's never any conversation about that. They literally don't address or panic of like, oh shit, the barrier's down. Like, I'd understand if it was like, you know, like I said, like getting the villain kids to come, or trying to spiff up the island or whatever. But no, they don't do any of that. Because with the barrier down, that means like literally any Disney villain can show up, and that's a bad thing. But then at the end of the movie, it's like a dance party sequence, or not really like a dance party, it's just, I don't remember if they danced actually. It's like a party sequence, and it's like, yippee, we saved everything, and these 4 kids are good now. But I'm like, the barrier, why is no one concerned about this? But I guess that sets up sequels. But yeah, I was really surprised there's like a lot of things at the end the characters just do not address. That was funny to me. Okay, well, that's pretty much my thoughts of this. I do really want to go watch the next one. I mean, I don't have to watch stuff with my friends, but it's like one of the animated Scooby-Doo movies I haven't seen, so I guess I gotta wait. But I mean, there's literally a day in this week where I'm gonna have some time to myself to watch whatever, like multiple hours, so I can literally just watch Descendants 2 then. It's not that I don't have the time, it's that I want to watch it now. So yeah, I guess I have to deal with that. I mean, maybe no, my friends and I usually start movies late. I can't, so I have to wait a couple days, but that's okay. Or maybe I might get to watch it tomorrow or something, I don't know. The weather's been like still kind of hot for me at the time I'm recording this, so it's like during the day I can't get on my computer, so that's why I've been like in another room watching stuff on the TV, so it doesn't like heat up my house or anything. All right, but yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching this, and like I said, Luigi's Mansion 2, I don't know if it's gonna get continued or not, because now that it's here, I'm like, maybe I should. So like, maybe it'll work out, I don't know, where like, ideally I would get through the boss and the playthrough just continues, but you have like several videos. I got like into a good chunk of the game actually before that even happened, so like the playthrough continues for now. Please hopefully watch the other ones that I have available and stuff. But yeah, we'll see. All right, so more Descendants on the way. It just might be a little bit. All right, bye.